Let's have a look at this before the break.
OK.
And it's Iran and another distressing story. Yeah,
they've gone with how Gen Z became the Iranian regime's most fearsome opponent. This is about the ongoing rebellion. And it picks up on this Nika Shakarami, and she's a sort of 16-year-old they're using as an example of someone. She gave the finger to the supreme leader, and it's a kind of punk spirit rising up. And it's quite interesting because Gen Z, although we should point out that in Iran, Gen Z means they were born between 1375 and 1389. So it's quite old by our standards of Gen Z as they're getting on. But it's interesting because Iran has 60% of their population under 30. So they're kind of boomers in that sense. They're like a young, booming country, whereas they're pointing out here the establishment is very old and out of touch. And it's much like the story we did the other day, that the fear is going and this rebellion is building. And Gen Z are interesting because they are quite radical, whereas in America, they've gone fully the other way because America's so sort of woke. They've gone into sort of being like the Groypers, the sort of radical right, whereas in Iran, Gen Z are sort of, radical freedom fighters in a different way. And we also did that story yesterday about 25% of Gen Z are LGBT, according to Stonewall. So Gen Z are sort of all over the place. They're radical in various ways.
I thought that it was interesting that the way this story is framing the Iranian protests is a rebellion by Gen Z. I mean, Gen Z in Iran sound a lot more impressive than the Gen Z over here. I mean, there they are risking being arrested, being tortured, even being killed by the Iranian, security services if they take off their veils, and yet they're doing it. They're being unbelievably courageous. Whereas, Gen Z over here, if you say a hurty word, it makes them feel unsafe. I mean, maybe they should go over there and learn something from these Iranian hardcore Gen Zers.
It's a different context, but there are those the millennials are very soft, but there are those Gen Zers who are on TikTok who like really robust humour. It seems to go both ways with Gen Z. But yeah, this is obviously...
What age group? Remind me the age group of Gen Z, roughly.
It's 1997 to 2012 here. OK. But if in Iran, a bit different, it's 1375.
Yeah, they've got the Iranian calendar.
But yeah, it's not quite you, Mark, and I'm not quite in it either. I'm a geriatric millennial. Toby's probably Gen X.
I think I'm a Gen Xer and a baby boomer. Because,
oh, really?
Born in 1963, and that's where the two overlap.
Yes, I'm similar with millennial and Gen X. Mark's ancient.
I'm on the cusp.
He's the great generation.
Which I'm receiving medical treatment for. It does hurt.